Hello, chess friends, and welcome to JOZAROV'S chess channel, and welcome to the Grand Chess Tour 2019 in Croatia, Zagreb. We have really, well, I think it's really the best chess tournament played maybe in history, because we have average rating of the players is 2782. So we had 9 of the 10 players were from the top 10 club, and the other players which are not in the top 10 club are Levon Aronjan, Hikaru, Nakamura, and Sergei Karyakin. So unbelievable stuff. So these three guys were always basically members of the top 10 club. So we have really the best chess players playing at this tournament, and I'm really looking forward, because in the first round we had 6 games, and it was 4 were winning games, and we had only 2 draws. I can't remember when the last time we had this type of results, because basically in the first round everyone is playing calmly, everyone is trying not to lose the first game, not to start bad in the tournament. So today we had a really aggressive first round, unbelievable, great games, great tactical games, and great drawish games. Even the drawish games were, I think, even the best games. So unbelievable games. I'm really looking forward. We will have 11 rounds, not 9 rounds like always. So as I said, I'm really looking forward to see the continuation of this tournament. So today I wanted to show you also another game from round 1, again between Fabiano Caruana and Hikaru Nakamura, these two top grandmasters from the USA. And I wanted to congratulate also my friend from the USA, David Helly, his birthday. He is now 49 years old. He is one of my followers. He is really a cool guy. But David is not. He's probably watching all of my videos, and I'm really thankful for that. But David is not really 49 years old. He is 18 years old with 31 years experience, like on this T-shirt. But he's really cool guy. And again, Dave, happy birthday, man. Okay, let's see now this game by Fabiano Caruana. And if you see this thumbnail that I've created, I had the opportunity to take some pictures with Nakamura and Caruana. Both of them are really great guys. I think I managed to, in my life, I played one blitz game against Hikaru Nakamura. Again, I wanted to thank him also through this video. But today Fabiano Caruana showed really such a great chess technique. It's unbelievable. You'll see in the continuation what I'm talking about. Unbelievable stuff what he played today, how he infiltrated in black's camp with the pieces, how he found the good squares, how he found some path of these rooks. Unbelievable, great game by Fabi. And maybe Fabi can also be the winner of this great tournament. So let's see the game. D4 played by Caruana, knight on f6 by Nakamura. We have c4, now e6, the Nimzo Indian, and this top grandmasters basically play now this move knight on f3, which is this counter Nimzo Indian or anti Nimzo Indian setup, which is not allowing black to pin this knight on c3 and create some doubling up pawns and some weaknesses on the queen side. So that's why also the most common answer to these types of lines is the move d5. Now we have the queen's gambit declined, and now knight on c3. Bishop on e7 was played by Nakamura. If bishop on b4, then we have the continuation c takes d5, and maybe bishop on b5, creating also a pin on this knight on f6. So it will be sort of a pinning line here. Bishop on e7, the most natural way here by Nakamura. Bishop on f4, getting out. We are not playing here bishop on g4. G5. We want to occupy this diagonal. And here Fabiano Caruana simply castle. Pardon me, Nakamura simply castle. We have e3, also common move, and now c5. If you try c6, okay, you haven't made a mistake, but white can try these types of variations with c5, create sort of a blockade here on the queen side. It can be met, of course, with b6 after b4, also with a5, but this position can sometimes be annoying to play against as black here against white, because sometimes, let's flip the board, you see you get a little bit pushed away here. The bishop is a little bit out of game. You basically have to trade it off through the square a6 sometimes in some occasions, but okay. As I said, still common theory, or this c6 or c5 move. The most aggressive line is of course to play the move c5. And now we have d takes c5 by Fabiano Caruana. We have bishop takes on c5, and well, if you try something like d takes c4 here, it seems that black can simplify the position, but white will have a huge activity here. Bishop takes on c4, if queen on d1, rook on d1. Now maybe bishop on c5, grabbing back the pawn. But now after castling, you see white has really developed, finished the development. Here we have an open d file. We can create a battery on the d file. All of our pieces are out. All of our pieces are on good squares, which is the most important thing. So here, this after d takes c5, d takes c4. I don't think that it's such a good idea. So bishop on c5, a3. And here knight on c6 was played. Queen on c2. I always wondered why after knight on c6 white didn't play maybe some moves like b4. Well, then I watched some instructive games, and here I wanted to show you what happens if you try something like b4. It's a game played by Joel Lautier against Veselin Topalov. Veselin Topalov, also the former world champion in chess. He played the knight on b4. After a takes b4, bishop on b4. You see we have immediately a pin, so queen on b3 has to be played in order to counterattack this bishop. After a5, well, you see white can try bishop on e5, but then you get this very, very annoying line, knight on d7. You see, if you try rook on c3 in order to support this knight more, then you get f6. Bishop on g3, and now knight on c5. So you see, after maybe queen on c2, now we get again knight on e4, and after maybe something like queen on b2, we can simply push forward, and you see in the next moves we will take simply the knight. Okay, we will lose two pieces maybe for the rook, but for the rook and the knight, but we'll continue here with the very, very annoying stuff here for white. We will have some two connected pass pawns here on the queen side. With the rook we will have 2 pawns and the rook for 2 pieces, so it's playable here for black. The evaluation here is really winning for black, so unbelievable stuff. This queen's gambit decline is really an aggressive line, so b4, believe me or not, it's not so good. Of course, after maybe something like bishop on e7, we can try even c5 in order to kick away and really fix the position here, or even take c takes d5 after maybe knight takes on d5, knight takes, queen takes, even to create sort of an isolated pawn situation, which could be a main weakness in black's position. So as said, here, that's why queen on c2 played by Caruana, not immediately pushed the pawn on b4, and here queen on a5, also common move. Again, this is not good because we can simply take, and you lose the rook because you don't have anymore the connection between the queen and the rook. So that's why rook on d1, you see Fabiano Caruana is building sort of a compact position with his pieces, because we have a dynamic pawn structure. It's the center is really dynamic here. Many things can happen, and one of the basic rules is really to create sort of a compact position with these pieces, get them as fixed as you can, really play firm and healthy positions. Here after rook on d1, you see rook on e8 was played, and this is now Nakamura's preparation to somehow open the e-file, because white has still an endangered king, because we haven't castled. We have a good development as white, but we haven't castled so far, so that's why rook on e8 also common idea. So now knight on d2 was played. This line was played between Magnus Carlsen and Hikaru Nakamura in 2017. The game ended in a draw. It was also great tactical battle between the two of them. But here after knight on d2 we have e5, and this allows now, of course, black some tempos. Bishop on g5 is played, and now knight on d4. This is also the tactical motif in this queen's gambit decline setups. It was played, I believe, a month ago between Sergei Karakin against Vishwanathan Anand. Sergei Karakin won the game. I just don't know if it was the blitz game or this classical game format. Knight on d4 was played, and here queen on b1 was also played by Karyakin. You cannot take this knight because, of course, we can open the e file. If you try something like bishop on e2, then we can grab this knight, and well, black has a better position here. So that's why queen on b1 was played, and here bishop on f5. I believe Anand played also bishop on f5. Now bishop on d3, bishop takes on d3, and queen on d3 also here played by Caruana. Now we have a very interesting idea, knight on e4 with an attack on the bishop. So you see, it's again black using the spinning situation on the king. So here knight on d5 was played by Caruana, releasing a little bit the pressure here because this knight was supported by this pawn on d5. Knight on g5 was played, and now we have finally this b4 move. So you see, many moves has to be played. Don't fall for the trick if you're playing the queen's gambit decline. This b4 move in order to trap the bishop or to get some material is only possible when you have prepared it. So you see, now finally b4 is possible with an attack on the queen. We have queen on d8, and now b takes c5. Now we have knight on e6. Of course, the knight has to move, and here Caruana finds a very nice move, queen on f5. This game is this move is really great because it's really hard to kick away the queen from this active square. So Fabiano Caruana really sneaks into Nakamura's position. As said, g6 is not possible because you simply lose this pawn. So that's why you see, after queen on f5, knight on c5 had to be played, but now h4. This is now very powerful play by Fabiano Caruana. I haven't seen Fabiano Caruana in a while playing so wild. h4, great move. You see, again, g6 of course is not possible because we can simply take the knight or place something like knight on f6 even. So you have to move the knight first on e6, and here knight on f3 was played by Caruana. And now we come to the critical moment. I believe the players have spent like 15 or 20 minutes on the clock, so Nakamura hasn't spent so much time, and he played immediately the move queen on a5. It was really a tricky line prepared here by Fabiano Caruana because king on e2, and it seems that the king is endangered, but the king is really perfectly fine here because we have many pieces that are protecting the king. We can always play after a potential queen on a2 moves. It's still much to play till this move queen on a2, but we always have rook on d2, and we can then maybe even doubling up rooks on the d file. So tricky idea here, and here Nakamura played the move f6, and well, Fabiano Caruana plays, well, the most aggressive way here. He plays the move h5. The h5 is a preparation, of course, to play the move h6, which is attacking the g7, and the g7 is the key defender of this f6 because we want to crack the position here around black's king. Here e4, which was a good move here by Nakamura, which was the correct move, and here knight on d2 was played by Caruana, also a very powerful move. If you try something like knight on d4, well, then it gets really annoying here for white. It's basically game over because we can play something like queen on a4, attacking this c4 pawn, which is the main weakness. So that's why knight on d2 was the correct move by Caruana. Let's see the possible continuation. After knight on e6, we have first queen on c4, king on king on e1 has to be played, and now rook on e6, and you see we have now annoying stuff with knight on d3. So that's why knight on d2 perfectly fine. Again, we have now also very powerful defender of the king, who combined with the rook creates a really nice defensive setup here around white's king. So here now, believe me or not, Hikaru Nakamura makes this decisive mistake. He plays queen takes on a3. The best move here would have been maybe knight on g5. You see, fixing really this e4 pawn, which is our main space advantage. In the continuation, we could maybe take the pawn on a3, but you have to be careful really here. First, this rook on knight on g5 has to be played. Here, Nakamura played immediately queen takes on a3, and it was really the decisive mistake, because now we have rook on h4. And you see, Caruana doesn't make the mistake. He doesn't play the move h6, which could really lead into destroyish games, because now Nakamura can play here the move g6. If you try something like knight on f6, here we have an interesting move, king on f7, and if you play queen on e5, then we can simply play rook on d8. The knight takes the rook. We can play simply now queen on d3 after king on e1, rook on e8, and you see it's a little bit it's really weird position. We have some pass pawn here on the a file, but the evaluation here is equal for both sides, so this would be much better line for Hikaru Nakamura, but it was hard to see. This knight can really maybe get used as attacking pieces. Maybe again try rook on d8 and then some knight on b3 pinning ideas on the d file. So as said, many tactical possibilities here. You see, Caruana didn't play this h6 move, which could lead into this equalish games. He played the correct move. It's unbelievable. It's sort of stockfish or alpha zero move, rook on h4, attacking even more the pawn here on e4. And I want to pay good attention on this rook, the path of this rook, how this rook will infiltrate in the game. Let's see, it went from h1 to h4, and really pay good attention where this rook will come. So here rook on d8 was played, and again sort of inaccuracy by Nakamura. Maybe here really rook on f8 would have been the better continuation. Okay, Caruana can grab a pawn here. You see how important it was to play the knight on g5 in order to support this e4 pawn. But now after king on h8, here knight on c3 could be the continuation. But now finally rook on d8, and we can try to battle here, because white still has the king on an unnatural square, and as said, he has to lose many tempos in order to bring the king into security. Then after that, maybe Nakamura can battle for a draw. But Nakamura played rook from a to d8 immediately, and now you see after knight on e4, it's a little bit different, because we have also this knight on f6 tactical possibilities, because we have now attacked this f6 pawn with 3 pieces. So here Nakamura tried queen on a2, but okay, king on e1 was played, and now queen on a5. Now king on f1, and the king is now finally in safety. We can in the next move play king on g1, and perfectly fine. Knight takes on e4 was played, rook takes on e4, and you see now the path of the rook. Rook comes here on e4. We have a queen on a4 with an attack on the c4 pawn, but it's really well protected. It's not a problem. Now we have rook on b1. This is of course the direct attack on this very weak pawn on b7. Knight on g5 was played, and now rook on d4. So you see Caruana's idea now. Caruana's idea is now to somehow place both of these rooks on the 7th rank. When that happens, well, it's basically game over because white will have a perfect domination with the queen. You see the queen went here on f5 and it stayed there for the end of the game, which is unbelievable. Great technical play here by Fabiano Caruana. Knight on f7 was played by Hikaru, and now you see rook on b7. Nakamura had to bring some defenders into the game. Here, queen on a6 was played with an attack on the rook, but now queen on b1, and we have now perfect battery on the b file, so you cannot compete anymore with these rooks on the b file because the queen has now played very actively on both of these diagonals and files, and rook on f8 was played, and now king on g1, finally bringing the king into security, and the king on h8 was played, and here c5. This c5 is again a tricky move. As I said, the main idea is here to doubling up rooks here on the 7th rank. So now comes rook on c8. But the funny thing is about this rook that, of course, it attacks the pawn on c5, but it gets out of this d file, and Caruana uses this moment immediately in order to liberate the d file and doubling up rooks on the 7th rank. So that's why here knight on e5 was played, preventing these ideas of rook on d7. That's why here h6, because now the knight is not defending anymore the h6. This h6 is really cracking this position around black's king, is really opening some files, opening some diagonals. That's why g6, but you see you have now a weakness on f6. Caruana played, of course, here rook on d6 with an attack on the queen. Queen on c4 was played, and now you see the path of the rook. The rook played here h4, e5, then after that d4, d6, e6. So here rook on c5 was played, and here rook from e to e7, and this monster rook, the path of the rook. Really great stuff here by Fabiano Caruana. Great technical play. It went here and attacked this h7, which is unprotectable, and it's game over here. So great play by Fabiano Caruana. I really loved this game. It was technically perfect. I'm a little bit sorry also for Hikaru Nakamura. I like his chess also, but okay, we'll see what will happen in the continuation of this tournament. As I said, we have in the first round 4 wins and only 2 draws. Unbelievable tournament, and I'm really looking forward to see what's going on. So I hope you enjoyed this game. Meanwhile, you can watch my 2 previous games from this tournament in here that's taking place in Croatia, and you can also subscribe to my channel if you like my content. Thanks you for watching, guys, and chess is the best, of course.